Welcome to the Mets pod. On today's show, Mets Assistant GM Ben Zauzmer joins us to talk about the team, his new role with the team, and even a little bit on his Oscars predictions, which is unbelievable. We're going to break down the start of the Mets West Coast road trip that everybody was afraid of, but they're off to a good start as well. And Joe and I have some news. We will be doing a live show at Citi Field that we will break down in just a little bit. So a reminder to subscribe to the Mets Pod at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mets Pod. I'm your host, Connor Rogers, joined, as always, by my co-host, Joe DeMayo, and we have a big show that we are excited to bring to you today. But before we get to that, got to announce what's ahead. Joe and I will be live at Citi Field next Tuesday, June 14th at 5:45. We will be right outside the Rotunda recording our podcast. It will be on all of SNY's social platforms. You can come by, say hello if you're going to be at the game, get there early, and come chat it up with us. So, Joe, we've been excited to do a show at Citi Field for quite some time. It's finally happening.
Yeah, something that we've been looking forward to kind of since we started this show is we had visions of, building up a listener base and going out to Citi Field and doing the show live from there and getting to meet and greet some people. So yeah, if you're able to go to the game next Tuesday, come on out, come say hey to me and Connor, and yeah, it'll be a great time.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you to shout your mailbag questions at us, and maybe they'll get in on the show. So we have no problem dealing with that. Like we said earlier, today we are going to have Mets Assistant GM Ben Zauzmer on, a guy that is not only truly brilliant, big analytical background, but now handling a big role. So we're excited to get to that. But before we do, the Mets start off this West Coast road trip pretty well overall. 5 games in, they are 3-2. They lost the first 2 to the Dodgers, and I think Panic City set in, Joe, and then everything righted itself. So when you look at how this West Coast trip has began, Joe, it's safe to say the Mets showed not only a lot of fight, evening up that series, but a team that, if not right there with the Dodgers, a lot of people think they could even be better than. This was a big statement by the Mets to start this road trip off on the right note.
It was definitely a big statement because, like you said, they lost the first 2 games, which, interestingly enough, were to 2 of the back-end starters in the Dodgers rotation. And then you're like, all right, they lost the first 2, and now they have tough. Buehler and Urias. And it's like, okay, see if you could squeeze out one of these last 2, you come away and I think you're okay. They take both. So, the Mets showing that resiliency that we've talked about here over the last month. The Mets are, whenever you want to count them out, whenever you want to say they're down, they bounce back seemingly every time. And that's within individual games, obviously, the big comebacks against Philadelphia. And then also coming back in a series against, you look at that Dodgers lineup, there's not an out in there. It is just stud after stud. So the Dodgers are an awesome team. And what the Mets are showing is that they are also a very good team. And I think, hopefully if things keep going as they are, this could be quite a playoff series if it were to come to that down the road.
Yeah, it really would be. And this wasn't even the true preview because the Mets are obviously hoping for not only Tyler McGill back very shortly, but eventually Jacob deGrom, eventually Max Scherzer. So they knew when you have a Trevor Williams on the mound who has handled his role better than anybody could have expected at this point. But when you have guys that are fill-ins, the offense has to show up. And the way they hit Walker Buehler, who's been one of the best pitchers in the National League for a couple of years now, it was very impressive. Alonso's a guy that loves playing at Dodger Stadium for whatever reason. The first game he goes 0 for 4. And then what you look at what he did in the next 3 games. He scores 5 runs. He hit 3 home runs in those 3 games. Pete was locked in. Lindor coming off the finger ordeal with the hotel door. He seems just A-okay. I'll say this, Joe. Even recently, it seems like, and maybe it's just a flash in the pan, but 2 guys that have not offered the Mets much offense. You look at the first game against San Diego and just overall, J.D. Davis and Eduardo Escobar are starting to hit. And if that's going to be a consistent theme of this lineup, not even consistent, but maybe they get hot for 2 to 3 weeks, there's not an out in the Mets lineup, if that's the case. If those are the 2 guys that we've been looking at and going, man, you need something from them offensively, especially Escobar, who always traditionally bats in the middle of the order and plays in the field every single day. They need more from the DH, and they're getting that from JD. That would be a game changer for this offense.
And we talked about Eduardo Escobar last week as a guy that we see that bounce back coming. And over the last week since we talked about him, he's been on fire. So it's actually funny. If you know me, which you do, and some of the listeners do, we know Joe does not stay up for West Coast games. So I fell asleep by I don't know, fourth inning or so. I randomly woke up while they were reviewing Luke Voigt's home run in the bottom of the eighth, and I looked up, groggy-eyed. I'm like, all right, let's see what goes on here.
Let me suffer through this.
And I basically laid there with my eyes shut, and I was listening, and I hear Escobar's at bat, and they're like, it goes down the line, and it gets past, and it's gonna be a triple. Eduardo Escobar is hit for the cycle, and I might have jumped out of my shoes. So not wearing shoes to bed, but just jumping out of my socks. And I was like, wow, cycle. I didn't realize it was, and the fact that it was the first one in a decade, said Scott Hairston. Yeah, Eduardo Escobar is a guy that you can't help but root for. And I think he's finally starting to catch fire as we warm up here into the summer months. And like you said, JD Davis as well. If that's the case, the Mets at this point, they are a very, very potent lineup.
Yeah, it's, man, that's the end of a great trivia question. The last Met to hit the cycle, I don't think a lot of people would get Scott Hairston right, but now Eduardo Escobar takes note there. So, with that being said, a good start for the Mets on this road trip, getting things right against the Dodgers, splitting, taking the first game from the Padres right there as well. You are listening to the Mets Pod. Subscribe to the Mets Pod at Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can watch on SNY's YouTube. Keep an eye on the social platforms for all our clips, or wherever you get your podcast. And now we're bringing in our guest, Mets Assistant GM Ben Zauzmer. All right, Ben, thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing, man? It's so great to have you on.
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So coming from the Dodgers and now working with the Mets, really good timing for us. What was this recent Mets-Dodgers series like for you? It's got to be a little bit conflicting inside at some point, right?
Conflicting, no. Entertaining, yes. Definitely no conflict, but it was very fun. I got to catch up with a number of my old colleagues over on the other the clubhouse. There was definitely some gentle trash talking. Turns out that both sides got their way. They got the first laugh, and I got the last laugh. But I know it was an intense series, I think, for the entire team, and maybe just 1% more intense for me.
So, coming from there, what kind of elements and learnings do you bring over to the Mets? I mean, we hear so much about the Dodgers. We see so much about the Dodgers being one of those powerhouse organizations. And I think there was a lot of excitement when you came over to the Mets to bring over some things internally that maybe fans don't get to see, but absolutely lead to more wins.
Yeah, well, it's no secret that they've got a wonderful organization over there. It starts with the people. It's really just a wonderful group of people that I enjoyed going to work with every day. And that creates a culture where people want to stay late, put in the hours, work hard, work collaboratively. And they're also really talented people who know a whole lot about baseball, a whole lot in my domain about statistics. And they all help each other. They learn from one another. I learned a ton from colleagues and people that I worked with over there. And that, to me, is a gold standard of the sort of culture that I want to help create here at the Mets. Is you want to bring in the best and the brightest, and that can mean in coding and stats and baseball, and create that kind of teamwork and camaraderie that allows good ideas to flow around the office so that, ultimately we can see the product on the field.
We've seen that reading Moneyball was an early inspiration for you. Do you think the entire league still pulls concepts from Moneyball today, or do you think there's still somewhat of a divide of quote-unquote old school operations and the new school?
So I've never really seen as much of a divide as is portrayed in the book or the movie. I didn't get into baseball until about 13 years after that book came out. And so by that point, I think the concept of using some amount of data and interpreting it in the fashion that statisticians do to try and help make decisions was somewhat of a well-established principle. By the time I started working in baseball, I believe all 30 clubs had at least one person who was employed with the title of analyst. So it was hardly some big controversial thing where there were battles going on in the office. I mean, it makes for a great book and a great movie. I just don't know if it's as true today as it was back when this stuff was so new. And it probably comes from both sides. having a better understanding of the other. I think analysts have developed a real sense of humility that's very clearly absent when you read that book. And I think the people from a more traditional baseball background have come to understand that there's value in this being part of the decision-making process. So I don't think you can call it controversial or divisive anymore when all 30 teams are doing it.
The research and development team has drastically grown since last season. We hear so much about that. Obviously, not something we get to see, but we definitely read the headlines and look into that. And from that growth, what have you been able to accomplish due to that department growing? And do you think it's one that will be ever expanding at this point?
So there are two main areas of growth here. One is more front office facing, and one is more coach and player facing. And we simply didn't have here the resources, the people power, if you will, to be able to do everything we need to do in both of those areas until very recently. So in terms of the coach and player facing side, we now have analysts and people who are familiar with this data who are able to interface with coaches and players, not just in the majors, but also throughout the minor leagues. That requires a whole lot of people who know a lot about baseball and statistics to be able to travel around with clubs, to be able to interface with coaches, talk their language, but also talk the language of statistics with people in the front office. And then there's the front office side. Those people who are out with coaches and players, they need the backing from people who are doing the heavier research projects, the ones that sometimes take not just weeks or a month, but maybe even months or over a year, because some statistical research projects can take a lot of time, a lot of coding, a lot of trial and error, a lot of validation. And you need a lot of really good data scientists in the front office who are working on all these different projects. How do you quantify batting and fielding and pitching? How do you work on the amateur draft and look at player development in the majors? And these are big, big research projects, and it's just not fair to ask one or two data scientists to try to take all of them on simultaneously.
A few months back, you were promoted to assistant GM. What does your day-to-day look like in that role?
So it's really toofold. It's, if you think about it from an org chart perspective, they use the phrase managing up and managing down, and there's some of both. Half of it is working with Billy Epler. I'm one of the assistant GMs. We've also got Ian Levin and Bryn Alderson, as well as a number of other advisors who joined us this past offseason. And all of us collectively are tasked with forming somewhat of a cabinet for Billy, where he ultimately is going to make decisions on the baseball side, but he likes having people to bounce ideas off of, people who have a pretty wide variety of backgrounds. And so he'll be considering, say, a trade or an internal move or whatever the decision that day may be, and he'll bounce it by us. And it's our job to do our homework and come to an informed opinion and let him know what that opinion is and why. So that's half of it. And then the other half, so we've promoted Joe Lefkowitz to Director of Baseball Analytics within the Mets organization, but I still, because of my background in that area, help to oversee that as well. And that's working with all the people that I just mentioned in the last question, all the different data scientists and analysts we have out in the field, and helping to guide their work and prioritize it and try to structure things in a way that we are prioritizing the same things that Billy wants us to prioritize as a whole throughout the Mets baseball ops.
I cover the amateur draft here for SNY, and last year we were talking to VP of Scouting Tommy Tanis, and he spoke about working with you and your team now as part of the amateur draft process. Can you just shed some light on just how that collaboration has matured over the last year and, just working with the scouting department in that specific field? How's that been over the last, let's say, year?
So Tommy's wonderful. We get along great. He's one of my favorite people in baseball, and it's such a pleasure getting to do the amateur draft work with him, as well as Mark Tremuta, who's our director of amateur scouting, and all the folks that they've got on that side. And we're coming up on that season again. We've got some draft meetings coming up in June and July, and then, of course, the draft coincides with the All-Star break again this year. So what he's got from his side is a ton of scouts, as well as others whose job it is in various capacities to evaluate amateur baseball players. What we've got from our side are a number of analysts, notably Des McGowan, who does a lot of our amateur draft work. And his job is to take these statistics that we have on all of these baseball players throughout the amateur world, as well as all of the scouting information, and try with the model to combine it into a starting point, if you will. That model tells us, okay, purely based on numeric inputs, here is how we would rank players. And from there, it's the job of Tommy and his group to make that ranking blend more with intuition, because the model is a wonderful starting point, and then you build off of it based on the collective wisdom of everybody in the room, of the analysts, as well as the scouts, as well as Billy, who oversees the entire process. And so it's a very fun process. It's laborious because you do need to do your due diligence on every single player. You need to make sure that either the model is right on that guy or it's not, and we need to talk about why and see if he needs to move up or down the board. But it's worth it in the end, because if you've really done your homework and gone through every single player, you can feel very confident going into the morning of day one that your board is set up correctly.
So we've heard you talk about working with Billy Epler. We've heard you talk about the scouting department. This would not be an episode of the Mets Pod if we did not bring up Steve Cohen, who is one of the more headline-worthy owners in the major leagues right now because of the financial power that he has. And in a short time, we've seen that make an impact on the Mets. So what is it like to work for a team that is owned by somebody with that kind of desire to be advanced in technology, analytics, and really just spend anywhere that can make the franchise improve?
Yes, Steve's terrific on all of this stuff for a number of different reasons. Obviously, he's the guy who signs the checks and is most well known for that. We signed a number of free agents this past offseason. Of course, that's what garners the most headlines. But you're right. A lot of the support that he provides is on the front office side as well. He is a firm believer in this area that we've been talking about in this conversation of using data and analytics and systems and engineering and all these different things to try and help the team improve. I mean, you look over at what he's done in his non-baseball life over at .72, and it's a lot of these same skill sets that they're using to try and advance their goals. And so it's no surprise that he's someone that's going to be very supportive of trying to be best in class. That's where a lot of what we do comes in, is trying to think both about what do we need to do to try and win tonight's game, using data if we can to help us in that regard, but also what can we do to try to win a game that's going to take place in 10 years. And it's our job to kind of split our brain a little and be thinking about both of those things. There's one other aspect of him too, which is that he's a fan, and it's clear in the culture that he promotes throughout. This is not a mere business venture for him. He wants the New York Mets to win. He wants a positive culture here, and he's willing to do what it takes from his end to make that happen, and it's all of our job to then execute.
We can't let you go without asking about the movies. And for our listeners who don't know, you could find another major Ben Zauzmer project on Twitter at Ben's Oscar Math. Ben's a published author when it comes to his mathematical model for predicting the Oscars every year. Articles in the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Hollywood Reporter, and his book on the subject, Oscarmetrics. You correctly predicted 19 out of 20 Oscars this year. One, at what point did you decide, predicting the Oscars was something you wanted to do? And how do you go about getting 19 of 20 right?
Well, I should say first as a caveat, in almost all years, it is not 19 out of 20. This was, there's certainly plenty of years where it's a lot lower than that. But no, this all started for me freshman year of college. I've always been a big movie fan, a big Oscars fan, and I wanted to know who was going to win that year. And, being a budding statistician, if you will, I just went to Google and tried to find the model that would tell me the probabilities that each movie would win, and I couldn't find it. And so I just decided to take a couple months and gather all the data and build it myself. That year,
that's great.
I put together some quick models and I put it up on, one of those WordPress websites that's very handmade. And then it just kind of took on a life of its own. It got more attention than I was expecting, to be honest. And it's grown every year since then. You mentioned, publications and the book and all of that. And it's become this really fun off-season hobby that I've gotten to do for each year of the past decade. And to your other question, how do you go about it? So the gist of the model is much like a model in baseball. You're trying to see, historically speaking, which inputs do the best job of predicting the future. And so that means there's a separate model for each category: best picture, best director, actor, actress, and so on. And each one has different potential inputs. I try out all sorts of things, but it turns out that the best ones by far tend to be all of the precursor award shows. For any movie fans out there, you're probably familiar with the Directors Guild and the BAFTAs and the Golden Globes and all, things like that. And each of them, to varying degrees, are predictive in each of these Oscar categories, some more than others. And so the model assigns more weight to the ones that have done a better job than others. So that's the gist of it. And it means that in years where all of these predictors happen to be aligned with the Oscars, you can see results as high as 19 out of 20. And in years where the Oscars choose to go their own way, then the nominees with lower probability chance of winning go on to win. And that's what we call upsets.
Before we let you go, were you bummed out it wasn't 20 of 20?
Oh, of course, but not that. I'll tell you why. The reason is, of all things, in a truly cinematic moment, if you will, the only one where a nominee with a smaller percentage chance won the award was Best Picture, of all things. So it came down to the final category, where The Power of the Dog had really swept through a number of the biggest precursors, and Coda was the second highest chance to win out of the 10 nominees, and Coda won. And I can't be that upset, only because from a pure my own film opinions perspective, and that has nothing to do with the model at all, but Coda was my favorite movie of the year. So it's hard to be upset when your favorite movie wins Best Picture.
That's awesome. Ben, we've been excited at the opportunity to have you on this podcast for a long time, and it did not disappoint at all. That is truly incredible. So Ben Zauzmer, Assistant GM of the Mets, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, it was great talking to Ben, somebody that Joe and I have said for a long time, even before the Mets pod, somebody that we were dying to interview, and he did not disappoint. Whether it was the Oscars, you could see the direction that the Mets organization is going with a lot of his influence, so that was a really, really fun conversation. But now, time to get into the mailbag. You know the deal by now. We do this every single week, and we have two great questions to answer for you this week. The first one is from Benny from Queens, and he starts it with, Joe, have you observed a noticeable improvement in Francisco Alvarez's defense? I know that's the biggest knock against him, and I'm curious if he's improved in that regard.
He is definitely improving defensively. And last week on Mets Perspective here that you could find on SNY.TV, we actually had Mets Director of Player Development Kevin Howard on and asked him specifically about Alvarez's defense. And he spoke about his leadership behind the plate. Obviously, his throwing arm is a plus tool. That's not something that he necessarily needs a ton of work on. But where he does need work is on the receiving and blocking of balls in the dirt. And Kevin actually told us that they have seen some market improvement in just a couple month period within this season. So I'm not sitting here and saying he's becoming a gold glover back there, but you're seeing a guy with his work ethic. Alvarez is going to be just fine behind the plate. He may not win gold gloves, may not be one of the best defensive catchers in baseball, but I don't think you're having a guy back there that you're dreading the fact that he's back there calling games and receiving pitches. Only 20 years old, absolutely raking in Double-A. And actually, just yesterday, ESPN's Kylie McDaniel wrote an article saying that he thinks Alvarez is the best prospect in all of baseball right now. So the Mets have something potentially special on their hands, certainly on the offensive side, but the growth defensively, I think, is something that has definitely impressed the Mets.
Yeah, coming from Kylie, a guy that has a good grasp on the entire landscape of prospects in the minors, that really caught my attention, that quote. That meant some serious praise. We've talked about Alvarez on this podcast for a long time. Joe, you've been all over him since the very beginning. If he's not a liability defensively with the kind of bat he has, that's going to be enough. So good to see some steps forward for him defensively. All right, the second question was from Steven Shine, who said, if you could sign up for the Mets winning one and only one World Series in the next 10 years, would you do it? Joe, I have a pretty clear-cut, firm answer on this, but I'm going to throw it to you first because I truly have no idea what you're going to say.
By nature, I am not a greedy individual, and I've been on this earth for 34 years, and I have seen the Mets win 0 World Series.
Yep.
So if you're promising me they're going to get one, okay, I won't win the next 9, but maybe they're competitive, and it'll still be enjoyable to watch, and I still have the prospects. I still have the MLB Draft, so I have other things to take my attention. But you give me one World Series, I'm going to be a happy guy.
Dude, couldn't agree more, and I think nobody else is going to agree with us. I think Mets fans are in the mold now in this new Cohen era where they want dynasty. They want at least 2 in the next 10 years, maybe 3. Sign me up for one every single day. I am 30 years old. Like you, I've never seen the Mets win a World Series. I am a Mets, Jets, Rangers, Knicks fan. So the only team to ever win a title in my lifetime was the Rangers, and I don't even remember it in 94. So if you're telling me I am guaranteed a New York Mets World Series in the next 10 years, I'm taking it every single time. This is not even a debate. So a reminder, and if you think we're insane, you can come yell at us in person, because we will be live at Citi Field at 5:45 next Tuesday, June 14th. We will be right outside the rotunda. If there is some bad weather, we do have a location we'll move inside. If it gets to that point, we will announce it. We'll announce it on our Twitters. We'll let you know everywhere. But we have our fingers crossed and very hopeful for good weather that we will be right outside the rotunda recording a show that will be live on all platforms. If you can't listen to it live for whatever reason, don't worry. It's going to be on the feed as it always is. We appreciate your support. Subscribing to the show. Please leave us questions in a review format if you want. That's the easiest way to get in the mailbag. So, Joe, closing thoughts here as the Mets continue their West Coast trip.
Think the West Coast trip, so far so good. Let's keep it going. And really looking forward to seeing everyone out at Citi Field next week. So come see us. It's gonna be a great time.
Absolutely. Reminder to subscribe to the Mets Pod at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows. Thanks so much, everyone. We will see you